Beloved of God, there's a stirring in the spirit realm right now that cannot be ignored. God's chosen ones are being summoned to a higher place of discernment because the Lord is moving in ways that will shock the world and overturn systems. There is a divine shaking that is not meant to destroy you, but to position you. The atmosphere is pregnant with a shift so monumental that those who are spiritually asleep will miss it entirely, but those who are tuned in to God's voice will be strategically placed to walk in uncommon influence, resources, and authority. This is not just a season of blessing. It is a season of divine transfer, a realignment of wealth, influence, and opportunity into the hands of those who have been found faithful in the quiet places. God is whispering a warning and an invitation at the same time. The shift is happening, and you must be awake to recognize your moment. Discernment is not just an accessory to your faith. It is the very currency that will determine your positioning in this divine shift. Many will see changes in the world and misinterpret them as random chaos. But those who are walking closely with God will understand that what looks like disruption is actually divine orchestration. This is the hour where your ability to distinguish God's voice from the noise of culture, your own emotions, and the deceptive whispers of the enemy will determine whether you step into divine appointments or miss them entirely. Discernment is not developed in the spotlight. It is cultivated in the secret place. It grows in moments where you have chosen prayer over panic, fasting over feeding the flesh, and listening to God's direction over reacting to the circumstances around you. In this season, opportunities will not always present themselves in obvious packaging. The doors that God will open for his chosen ones may first appear as inconveniences, challenges, or even losses. Without discernment, you will be tempted to reject what is actually your divine assignment. God is in the business of disguising his greatest blessings in forms that require spiritual insight to recognize. And the coming shift will not be navigated by human logic or financial forecasting. It will be navigated by those who have trained their spirits to detect God's movements. Discernment in this hour also means knowing when to move and when to wait. There will be moments where God will give you the green light to act swiftly, to seize opportunities before they vanish. At other times, he will instruct you to hold still while he clears obstacles and positions you for a greater opening. Those who lack discernment will either act prematurely and sabotage their own promotion, or delay too long and watch their moment pass them by. The spirit of discernment will help you read the times and seasons accurately so that you can align your actions with heaven's timing. We are also stepping into a time where counterfeit opportunities will increase. The enemy understands that if he cannot stop the shift, he can at least try to divert you into something that looks like God, but is actually designed to drain your energy, resources, and focus. Discernment will keep you from partnering with the wrong people, investing in the wrong places, or attaching yourself to movements that do not carry God's approval. It will protect you from the subtle compromises that can delay your destiny. Furthermore, discernment is not just about avoiding the wrong. It is about recognizing the right even when it comes in unexpected form. Sometimes the answer to your prayer will come through a person or situation that challenges your pride or stretches your comfort zone. Without discernment, you will dismiss the very thing God sent to prepare you for greater influence. The currency of this next era will not be merely financial capital, it will be spiritual insight. Those who discern accurately will not only survive the shaking, but will thrive in it. They will be positioned to step into rooms they never thought they could enter, to influence decisions they never thought they could touch, and to receive resources they never thought would be placed in their hands. This is why the enemy fights so hard to keep you distracted, because he knows that a distracted believer is a believer who is blind to the shift. When you sharpen your discernment through prayer, word meditation, and intimacy with God, you will have the eyes to see and the ears to hear where the Spirit is moving, and you will be ready to walk into places prepared for you before the foundation of the world. The shift that is taking place will not only bring new opportunities, it will strip away the mask that people and systems have been wearing for years. In this next move of God, there will be a divine exposure, a revealing of motives that have been hidden beneath polished words and rehearsed performances. Relationships, alliances, and even institutions that appeared solid will be tested by the fire of this transition. And what is not rooted in truth will crumble. Because the shift is not just about transferring resources. It is about aligning the right people with the right purposes. God will not allow his chosen ones to step into their next assignment surrounded by voices that secretly work against their destiny. When the shift begins to intensify, some people you once trusted will begin to reveal who they really are. Not necessarily through dramatic betrayals, but in subtle ways. Through the tone of their encouragement, through their reactions to your victories, through the energy they bring when you share your vision. Those who have been pretending to celebrate you will not be able to hide their envy, and those who have been tolerating you rather than truly standing with you will find themselves drifting away. This is not meant to discourage you, but to free you. The exposure is God's way of removing the weight of false alliances so that you can run unburdened toward your calling. The shift will also expose motives in the realm of leadership and influence. Many who have been positioned as gatekeepers in business, media, ministry, or politics will be unmasked, and their agendas will be brought to light. Some have built their platforms on the appearance of serving people, but their true aim has been self-promotion, control, or financial gain. As the shaking continues, the foundations of such influence will be revealed as unstable, and their positions will be vacated to make room for those whose hearts are aligned with God's purposes. This exposure will not always be comfortable for the chosen ones. There will be moments when you discover that someone you respected, followed, or even mentored under was not walking in integrity. There will be situations where you are forced to distance yourself from people you love because God reveals that their path is no longer aligned with yours. Discernment will be crucial here. Not just to see the exposure, but to respond in wisdom. Exposure without maturity can lead to bitterness or self-righteousness. But the goal here is purification and preparation, not condemnation. At the same time, the shift will reveal true alliances that have been hidden in plain sight. Some individuals have been quietly praying for you, supporting you from the shadows, and waiting for the right moment to step into your story. These are the ones God will highlight in this season, the covenant connections that will help carry you into the fullness of your assignment. Where false relationships are removed, true partnerships will be established, and these will be marked by mutual honor, shared vision, and divine timing. This exposure is also happening within each of us. God will use the shift to bring our own hidden motives to the surface, not to shame us, but to purify our intentions. He will confront places in us where ambition has overshadowed obedience, where fear has disguised itself as caution, or where pride has masqueraded as confidence. In the same way that he is exposing others, he will lovingly expose us to ourselves so that we can be refined and ready for what's ahead. This is why the shift cannot be approached lightly. It is not just a season of blessing. It is a season of separation. The revealing of motives is necessary so that the next level of influence is carried by those who have been tested and found faithful. You may find yourself surprised by who leaves and who stays, but trust that every exposure is God's way of protecting the assignment on your life and ensuring that when you step into this new dimension, you are surrounded by people whose hearts are as pure as their words. In this divine shift, obedience will not just be important, it will be the very key that accelerates your access to the opportunities God has ordained for you. There are seasons where God moves regardless of our timing. But in this moment, he is calling his chosen ones to walk in such precision that even the smallest act of obedience will have a multiplied effect. The reason is simple: alignment with his instructions. Obedience in this season will not always be convenient or comfortable. God may call you to release something you have been holding tightly to, whether it's a relationship, a job, a familiar routine, or even a mindset that has served you in the past. Instructions that make no sense to your natural understanding. Moments where God asks you to step into unfamiliar territory without a detailed map. In these moments, delayed obedience will cost you opportunities because the timing of this shift is so precise that hesitation can mean missing your divine appointment. We must understand that obedience is not passive agreement, it is active surrender. It is one thing to say, "Yes, Lord," in prayer, and another to move your feet in the direction he sends you, even when it contradicts your plans. Some of the doors that are about to open will require you to have already made the move God asked for weeks or months prior. This means that obedience today is setting the stage for the opportunities that will appear tomorrow. In this shift, God is accelerating processes. What used to take years to build will happen in months, and what once took months will happen in weeks. But that acceleration is tied to your willingness to follow his instructions without delay. If he tells you to reach out to a certain person, to sow a seed into a specific place, or to prepare a skill you've been neglecting, it is because he sees the alignment of circumstances that you cannot yet see. And your obedience becomes the bridge between the invisible preparation and the visible breakthrough. There is also a weight to obedience that involves trust. Some of the opportunities that will present themselves will not look like they lead to greatness. God may tell you to start small, to serve in a hidden place, or to take an assignment that appears beneath your skill level, but in reality, these acts of humility and service are divine positioning moves that will place you in the exact location for a divine encounter or connection. Many people will miss their moment because they're waiting for something grand, while God is testing them in the seemingly insignificant. Obedience will also be a safeguard in this season. As the ship brings both divine opportunities and counterfeit distractions, following God's voice precisely will protect you from entangling yourself with the wrong commitments. When you obey, you remain in the flow of his timing, and in that flow, you are shielded from traps that the enemy has set along the way. This is why the chosen ones must not just hear God, They must move when he speaks. One of the most challenging aspects of obedience in this shift will be letting go of control. The temptation to calculate outcomes, to wait until everything makes sense will be strong. But the speed of this transition will not allow for endless analysis. God is moving quickly, and he is inviting you to move with him even when you can't see the full picture. The reward for that kind of obedience will be supernatural acceleration, divine favor, and the kind of access that no human hand could have orchestrated. In this moment, the difference between those who watch the shift happen and those who walk in it will come down to one thing: whether they obey the voice of the Lord without delay, without excuses, and without compromise. Those who do will find themselves stepping into spaces they never imagined, holding keys they never thought they would carry, and fulfilling assignments they never dreamed they were qualified for, simply because they chose to say yes and keep moving. In this pivotal moment, distractions will be the enemy's most effective weapon to derail the chosen ones from stepping into their divine positioning. The shift that is unfolding requires an unusual level of focus, and anything that dilutes your attention will have the potential to rob you of your moment. Distractions in this season will not always look like obvious sins or temptations. In fact, the most dangerous ones will often appear good, harmless, or even beneficial on the surface. They will be cleverly designed to consume your time, drain your energy, and keep you from doing the very thing God has instructed you to do. Some distractions will come in the form of unnecessary battles, arguments, misunderstandings, and conflicts that